Monopoly. This is taken from Intermediate Microeconomic Theory, MIT Press, AMG. I think the name of the authors were Arredondo uh, and Gracias, right, et al. So this is there on the D School website. So there is a reading list there. Please pull up the reading list, buy the book, or if you're buying the readings, you can buy the readings as well. Anyhow, so in perfect competition, you have huge number of sellers. And because you have huge number of sellers, so one seller increasing or decreasing the supply is not going to affect much. It is not going to affect the price much because there are huge number of sellers. In monopoly, there is only a single seller, right? So because there is only a single seller, he can affect the price. He has the power to affect the price. And he can sort of set the price also above the cost. That is also possible. So, and because there is only one firm, so he doesn't have to worry about the competition from the others. That is one thing. So in monopoly, there's a single firm. And that single firm has the ability to set the price above the cost. To set the price above the cost, right? I mean, it doesn't have to compete with the other firms because there is no other firm which is existing in the market. But the question which might arise is that why do we think that monopolies they do exist? So there are different reasons why monopolies exist. Why do monopolies exist? देखिए, मोनोपोलीज तीन कारणों की वजह से एग्जिस्ट करती हैं. One is your strategic barriers. They take advantage of strategic barriers so that the other firms cannot enter. And if there are no other firms which are entering, so there is only one firm which is remaining, and that firm can operate as the monopoly. The other reason could be legal barriers. Legal barriers. And the other reason could be your structural barriers. Structural barriers. सो इन तीन कारणों की वजह से मोनोपोलीज एग्जिस्ट करती हैं. स्ट्रैटेजिक बैरियर्स की वजह से, लीगल बैरियर्स की वजह से, और स्ट्रक्चरल बैरियर्स की वजह से. तो अगर आप स्ट्रैटेजिक बैरियर्स को देखें तो वो तो बहुत आसान है. मतलब जो फर्म्स हैं, वो जो मोनोपोली फर्म है, इट ट्राइज टू डू समथिंग सो दैट द अदर फर्म इज नॉट एबल टू कम इनटू द मार्केट. So what it can do, it can probably reduce the price a lot. So the customers will think, I mean, this incumbent monopoly firm is already there in the market since long. So we should be depending more on them instead of the other entrant who is coming. You got it? कोई और एंटर करना चाहता है मार्केट में, और जो ये इनकम्बेंट मोनोपोली फर्म है वो प्राइस को बहुत कम कर देती है. So if it reduces the price a lot, जो customers हैं, they have a natural tendency to believe in the firm which is existing from the past, right? So और होगा क्या कि because customers will be believing in the incumbent monopolist, then the other firm cannot enter. उसको लगेगा क्या प्रॉफिट है इस मार्केट में आने का. दूसरा, this is also going to give a signal to the entrant firm. जैसे कि if there is my monopoly firm and there is an entrant firm which is coming, and if I reduce the price a lot, So I will build up a reputation of a very, very hard competitor. So I will try to reduce the price till the point it is absolutely not possible for the entrant to remain in the market. वो कहेगा भैया कोई फायदा ही नहीं है, मैं क्यों रहूंगा इस मार्केट के अंदर। हाँ, क्योंकि ये तो प्राइस रिड्यूस करता जा ही रहा है। जो जो कस्टमर्स हैं वो इसी को बिलीव करते हैं, और इस प्राइस पे एंट्रेंट का रहना पॉसिबल नहीं है। तो इसलिए वो कहता है कि मैं नहीं एंटर करूंगा, राइट। सो दे कैन टेक एन एक्शन, टेक एक्शन टू डिटर एंट्री। Action to deter entry. So what kind of action they can take? They can do price wars. Price wars, right? So incumbent builds up a reputation uh, of being a very, very tough competitor, right? So deterring the potential entrant to join the industry. मान लीजिए book also used to give book has given one example in which there was an airline which was already operating on one route, and there's another airline which is trying to enter. So the moment the entrant tries to enter, this incumbent airline has reduced the price a lot. Now, after 1 year of such a huge price war, potential entrants said, I mean, we are not entering because this is not profitable for us. And the moment that entrant has gone, the incumbent monopolist has again increased the price, right? So incumbent he builds up a reputation of tough competitor. He builds up a reputation of tough competitor. और क्योंकि the incumbent monopolist is reducing the price a lot, और आप लड़ लड़ के भी थक जाते हो, so the entrant it it feels कि it's not worthwhile, so let's move on to some other market. Then there are the other reasons why monopolists can exist is because maybe uh, there is sometimes there are also government controlled monopolies, and sometimes there are the laws which can protect the monopolies, for example patents, for example copyrights, right? So patents, copyrights, right? अब patents, copyright is in for example, I have discovered a new product. So law gives me certain advantage over the others. Law says that, okay, we are going to reward you with some amount of monopoly profits for certain time. So मैं एक फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनी हूँ, मान लीजिए मैंने कोई ड्रग बनाया और उससे कई हजारों लाखों लोगों का इलाज इलाज हो सकता है, लेकिन मैं ये कहूंगा देखो मैंने कितना खर्चा करा है रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट पे, and because I have spent a lot on research and development, so law should not allow this formula which I have created to be copied by the other persons. तो वो ये कहेंगे ठीक है, हम आपको अगले कुछ सालों तक ये प्रोडक्ट सिर्फ आप ही निकाल सकते हैं इस प्राइस पे। जनरली द पेटेंट पीरियड इज लॉन्ग, राइट? आई डोंट रिमेंबर, मे बी 20-30 years, राइट? सो मान लीजिए इतने साल तक के लिए if the patent is given, then the consumers will also have to buy this at a very high price. So there are various economists, they also are of this view, okay, why don't we get away with patents? The moment किसी कंपनी ने पेटेंट, किसी कंपनी ने नया प्रोडक्ट बनाया है, तो उस समय के लिए उसको वो प्रॉफिट्स मिल जाएंगे ना. इट इज नॉट सो इजी. सपोजिटली इफ आई एम द फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनी एंड आई हैव मेड अ न्यू ड्रग and I will be getting the profit the moment I'm going to take this drug into the market. It is not so easy for the new company to just copy my product. आसान नहीं है, वो कहने की बात है, राइट. वो सिर्फ ऐसे ही फॉर्मूला नहीं उठा सकते हैं मेरी ड्रग के फॉर्मूला को. दे जस्ट कांट, राइट. और क्योंकि दे कांट, so I will make monopoly profits, a huge monopoly profits over my research and development cost. So there are economists who say that don't get into giving these monopolies patents. Uh, let these uh, let these monopolists, let these companies, they should work without patents. लेकिन फिर भी इनोवेशन को किसी तरीके से रिवॉर्ड करने के लिए पेटेंट्स एंड कॉपीराइट्स आर नीडेड. So these are few legal barriers due to which the monopolies are going to be created. Because अगर किसी कंपनी को मान लीजिए अगले 20 सालों तक के लिए एक सुरक्षा है कि आपके प्रोडक्ट को कोई कॉपी नहीं कर सकता, कोई और वैसा ही प्रोडक्ट नहीं बना सकता, तो अगले 20 सालों के लिए तो मेरी कंपनी मोनोपोली की तरह से बिहेव करेगी ना. सो दैट इज वन ऑफ द रीजन व्हाई मोनोपोलीज एग्जिस्ट. And then you have the structural barriers. So structural barriers में there are basically two kinds. One is economies of scale, या फिर आप उसको कह सकते हो cost advantage. And the other one is your demand advantage. इसका एक एग्जांपल हो सकता है नेटवर्क एक्सटर्नैलिटीज. डिमांड एडवांटेज, राइट. सो एक तो है इकोनॉमीज ऑफ स्केल की तरह से, और एक है डिमांड एडवांटेज. देखिए बहुत सारी ऐसी कंपनीज होती हैं जैसे कि वाटर एंड नेचुरल गैस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कंपनीज, राइट. उन कंपनीज को सेटअप करने के लिए देयर इज अ ह्यूज कॉस्ट विच इज रिक्वायर्ड, ह्यूज फिक्स कॉस्ट, राइट. एंड but then the moment they are set up, in order to serve a new customer there is hardly any marginal cost. So fixed cost बहुत ज्यादा है, but marginal cost of serving the new customer is almost zero, right. That is almost zero. सो कुछ बातें लिखेंगे कॉस्ट एडवांटेज के लिए, इसको हम अलग से लिखते हैं बेटा, बिकॉज इसमें कुछ पॉइंट्स लिखने हैं. सो प्लीज राइट दैट. कॉस्ट एडवांटेज वाले में, राइट. सो आप ये कह रहे हो दैट many of these companies they have the massive fixed cost, massive fixed cost to start the operational company, right. But then relatively low cost of servicing each additional customer. Each additional customer, right. So अब यहाँ पे ये कहा जा रहा है कि मान लीजिए so what you are trying to say is that in such a scenario it is better that there is only one firm operating instead of two firms, right. Instead of two firms, if there is only one firm which is operating, it is rather better. वो ये क्यों कह रहे हैं? Because AC of a single firm AC of a single firm producing Q units is lower than the aggregate AC of the two firms. अब आप क्या शो करना चाह रहे हो कि भैया अगर मोनोपोली है तो जो एवरेज कॉस्ट आएगी वो कम है एज कंपेयर टू अगर टू फर्म्स हो जाएंगी। टू फर्म्स का क्या मतलब है? कंपटीशन है। मोनोपोली का क्या मतलब है? कोई कंपटीशन नहीं है। सो because of the cost advantage also, it is always better, it is better in this in few cases to have just one firm, to have monopoly running aggregate AC of two firms that together produce Q units. So what you're trying to say is this, that supposedly if Q has to be produced and one firm is producing this, a monopoly firm, then the average cost is ACQ. But if there are two firms producing this Q, so the first firm is producing Q1, the average cost of producing this Q1 is AC1 Q1, and the average cost of the second firm producing the remaining output Q2 is AC2 Q2. So although what both firms together are producing, that is equal to the total output. But when this total output is produced by just one firm, the AC is lower as compared to if there are two firms. Right? This is basically the case of a natural monopoly. Natural monopoly. I made a video on natural monopoly also. आप एक बार देख लीजिएगा. So यहाँ पे एग्जाम्पल दिया आपकी बुक ने. It says this कि मान लेते हैं TC is equal to 100 plus 2Q. ठीक है. So what is AC of producing this? TC upon Q, which is 100 upon Q plus 2, right? और आप देख सकते हो that del AC by del Q is less than 0, that is negative. So इसका मतलब है कि AC is falling. चलो यहाँ तक भी बात सही है. Supposedly if 10 units of output has to be produced and there is only one firm producing it, so what is the AC? 100 upon 10 plus 2, so 10 plus 2, which is 12. But this 10, if I'm going to divide this in two firms, so one firm is producing 5, the other firm is producing 5, then what is the AC? 100 upon 5 plus 2. So in order to produce 5 units of output, the first firm has to incur the cost of 22. And similarly, the second firm also has to incur the cost of 22. Right? So the total cost of producing 10 units of output when there are two firms producing 5 units each is what? 44. Now you tell me, is 12 better or 44 better? So in this case, if only one firm is producing it, it is better than if two firms are producing the same level of output. You with me? Two firms are producing the same level of output. Then you have an example of the demand advantage. You have an example of demand advantage. अब demand advantage का क्या मतलब है? Supposedly if you have the examples such as Amazon, right? Now, many customers will be choosing Amazon as their first choice, right? So अगर उनको कुछ खरीदना है ऑनलाइन तो वो Amazon पे पहले जाएंगे इंस्टेड ऑफ, जैसे बुक ये कहती है आपकी कि इवन जो बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज है, फॉर एग्जांपल वॉलमार्ट, वो भी ऑनलाइन सेल्स करने में इतने आसान नहीं है उनके लिए, क्योंकि जो कस्टमर्स हैं उनका पहला चॉइस अमेजन पे जाता है, नॉट ऑन दी वॉलमार्ट और सिस्को व्हाट्सएवर, राइट। सो बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज नहीं, और बड़ी कंपनीज भी ऑनलाइन के अंदर अमेजन को नहीं झेल पाती हैं, राइट, अमेजन को नहीं मात दे पाती हैं। सो हाउ डू यू डू दिस? सो अमेजन as this so is the first option of large number of customers, large number of customers. So badi firms such as Walmart, they have also struggled to increase their online sales. Why? Because the tendency of many of the buyers is to go to the Amazon first, right? अब यहीं पे जो चीज आती है वो नेटवर्क एक्सटर्नैलिटीज की है। नेटवर्क एक्सटर्नैलिटीज, right? So the value of the good or a service is going to increase by more number of people using it, right? This is because of network externalities. तो जितने लोग उसको यूज करेंगे उसकी अट्रैक्शन और ज्यादा बढ़ती जाती है। क्या है फेसबुक? जस्ट बिकॉज देर आर बिलियन ऑफ पीपल हु आर देयर ऑन फेसबुक, इट्स वैल्यू हैज इंक्रीज्ड अ लॉट। फेसबुक जैसी कोई और भी साइट आ सकती है, बट हम सब के सब पहले फेसबुक पे जाएंगे, राइट? सो दे अकर, एंड क्यों उसकी वैल्यू बढ़ रही है? बिकॉज सबके सब फेसबुक पे बार बार जाएंगे। हमको भी लगेगा कि जो हमारे फ्रेंड्स हैं, हमारी फैमिली है, दे आर ऑन द फेसबुक, सो व्हाई डोंट वी गो देयर? अब कोई नया सोशल नेटवर्क प्लेटफॉर्म हो तो हम उस पर नहीं जाएंगे, राइट? सो दे अकर when the value of the good or service good or a service increases, as a result of many people using it, right? सो जो जितने ज्यादा लोग उसको अडॉप्ट कर लेते हैं, वो चीज उतनी ज्यादा अट्रैक्टिव लगने लग जाती है, राइट? सो टू द न्यू कंज्यूमर्स ऑल्सो, दे विल ऑल्सो थिंक, आई डोंट नो, दिस थिंग इज गुड, we should go to this thing only. Then the competing goods or service, and this is very evident in the social networks, right? So ये क्यों होता है? बिकॉज ऑफ द डिमांड एडवांटेज, क्योंकि इन्होंने पहले एक ऐसी चीज बना ली है जो बहुत से लोगों ने अडॉप्ट कर लिया है। Now to create a same kind of social network is not so easy. So उधर because of these reasons also monopolies they exist. अच्छा, एक और रीजन हो सकता है, there is a resource control reason, right? रिसोर्स कंट्रोल। अभी नाम से ही आपको पता लग रहा है कि मान लीजिए किसी चीज को प्रोड्यूस करने के लिए अगर मैं उसमें जो लगने वाले रिसोर्स की सप्लाई को कंट्रोल कर लेता हूं, देन आई विल बी हैविंग अ मोनोपोली इन दैट, राइट? फिर तो मैं किसी और को आने ही नहीं दूंगा, बिकॉज आई हैव कंट्रोल द सप्लाई ऑफ द रॉ मटेरियल फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर गुड, राइट? सो सिंगल ओनरशिप ऑफ द रिसोर्स single ownership over the resource. Gives the owner power to raise the market price of the good. The market price of a good over marginal cost without losing the customers to competitors. Without losing the customers competitors. You think better? Huh? So these are the few reasons. So why do monopolies exist? They exist because of the strategic barriers. Means I can reduce the price. I can start a price war. The potential entrant would be deterred to enter. So I will only remain in the market. Legal barriers could be patents, copyrights. Because of that, the government itself, law itself, is providing me to flourish as a monopolist. And structural barriers. It is cost advantage or demand advantage. So cost advantage is what your economies of scale is. Uh, or demand advantage is somewhat related to the network externalities, right? Okay, so I hope it was of some use to you. Thank you, Beta.